Are you ready for some smart, plain talk on politics, Israel, and the law? It's the Andrew Parker Show. Let's roll. Welcome to another episode of the Andrew Parker Show. Thank you once again for joining us as we talk each episode about politics, Israel, and the law. World events have really taken over the show and talking foreign policy issues. And in particular in the Middle East as it relates to Iran. And we are going to do the same on this episode number, I think, 483. But talk about an Iranian proxy, the one that has not been so entirely decimated as Hamas in the south. The horrors of what Hamas did on October 7th. People apparently want Israel to wait until another October 7th happens, this time in the north, before it decimates Hezbollah. Well, that is insanity. No country worth continuing would believe that that's acceptable. Security and safety is spot on, job number one for any government anywhere in the world of any good, civilized, moral foundation. Of course, there are many despotic and tyrannical regimes that could care less about security and safety of its citizens. In fact, it murders its citizens, which is what Iran does. It goes and takes over other countries through fear and murder, as Iran has done in Lebanon. Well, have they really taken over? Well, yeah. Hezbollah controls Lebanon. Hezbollah, a proxy of Iran. Over the decades, while the Western world watched and did absolutely nothing, zero, zippo, Iran built up the forces of Hezbollah in Lebanon through Syria and its alliance with Bashar Assad. It armed Hezbollah to the teeth. Now, a bit of history bringing us up to where we sit today and the absolute despicable, disgusting attitude that the West has and the Democratic Party in this country has toward Israel defending itself against what has occurred just across its northern border in Lebanon over the last many decades. Israel in 2006, due to hostage taking, due to repeated months-long, sporadic but consistent missile fire into civilian targets in Israel. We're talking about specifically targeting civilian locations with missiles. That's what Hezbollah did month in, month out. Thousands of them over time into northern Israel. How long would it take for the United States to go and decimate any such threat on its northern border? A nanominute, a second. That's it. That's it. Israel in 2006 went into Lebanon and destroyed some of their missiles that were aimed at Israel that had been wreaking havoc in the north. Well over 1 million people, many were killed, but well over 1 million people were had to flee their homes. during this war in the north that Israel faced. Lost a number of soldiers, and Hezbollah continued launching missiles. Israel went as far into Lebanon as they have ever been, and they destroyed much of what Hezbollah had, but they did not destroy it entirely, and they stopped. Why? Because the West, in particular the United States, in particular the Democratic Party, but the West as well, and the United Nations demanded that Israel not defend itself, demanded that Israel not destroy Hezbollah within Lebanon, allowing Lebanon to flourish if it did not have the scourge of this horrific organization, Hezbollah, whose entire reason for living is the destruction of the state of Israel. No, that's not hyperbole. That is the foundation of their existence, the destruction of the state of Israel. They are funded in large part by Iran. They are provided munitions and military by Iran, including in particular ballistic missiles. But the world demanded Israel not defend itself, not destroy Hezbollah, and Israel didn't and pulled back. Why? Because of a promise, not only the demand by the world, but a promise as well. The U.S., and in particular the Democratic Party, but even George W. Bush at the time, put pressure on Israel to stop and not go all the way to Beirut, not root out the entirety of Hezbollah. And if you do that, Israel, the world will make sure that Hezbollah is not allowed to rearm. The world will protect against Iran sending missiles to its friends in Syria only to be funneled surreptitiously, covertly into Lebanon for use by Hezbollah. Well, how'd that go? Within a decade, Hezbollah had rearmed, remilitarized, and had well in excess of 100,000 rockets. And then what happened? The Iran conflict. Well, first it was Hamas down in the south, and for whatever reason, Hezbollah did not enter that war. But now, in support of its friends in Iran, the mullahs, who basically control Hezbollah as another arm of its army, now they're rearmed, and they are the strongest army in that part of the Middle East, anywhere. And they have all but destroyed, between Syria and Hezbollah controlled by Iran, they have all but destroyed Lebanon. A country built on foundations of wanting far more freedom, just in large part like the Iranian people. They're quite different, but like the Iranian desire for more freedom. That's what Lebanon wants as well. And they are too weak, certainly in the face of Syria during all those years. Not anymore. Syria is now in shambles. But in the face of Hezbollah, they are controlled by this terrorist organization, recognized by most of the world as a terrorist organization. And again, an arm of Iran. And so Hezbollah, with all of these rockets that the world promised would never be in the hands of this terrorist group, hell-bent on the destruction of the state of Israel and sitting right on the northern border where millions of people are within just a few miles. When I say a few, it's maybe a 3-hour drive. Got millions of people. And I've made that drive a number of times. It may well be dangerous to make that drive today because the world reneged on its promise, ignored it. They don't even talk about it anymore. I haven't heard Donald Trump bring it up. The great supporter of Israel. You know what, Israel? Donald Trump says, you got missiles on your border, tough luck. They're targeting your civilian population. That's the way it goes. My political career is at stake. The Jewish lives in Israel, they'll have to wait. Well, he didn't exactly say that. That's maybe a bit of an overstatement, right? Isn't it, Parker? Well, they're lining up the missiles. They're launching them daily. They're requiring Israel to defend itself. And now we're getting pushback from the President of the United States that Israel should not defend itself because it'll interfere with his Iran policy, which is a fiasco as we sit here. I mean, we're negotiating with them. Why are we negotiating with them? Why aren't we dictating? And if we're not far enough along in the military action to be dictating the terms of resolution, then we should get far enough along. This is not a negotiation with Iran. You can't negotiate with this despotic, tyrannical regime like never before. This isn't the Soviet Union. This isn't even China. These are not politically driven people. They're religiously driven with fundamental beliefs that are not changing. And those beliefs are destructive to the West, entirely destructive. Destroying freedom and basic fundamental values of the West, ignoring them and requiring those in the West to convert or die. A record of success second to none. Parker Daniels Keyboard Law Firm, the numbers tell the story. The last 5 cases our lawyers have brought to trial have resulted in million and multi-million-dollar verdicts for our plaintiff clients and 0 defense verdicts for our defense clients. Put simply, we try cases and we win cases. Hi, I'm Andrew Parker. At Parker Daniels Keyboard, we take our work personally and we go the extra mile. That is why some of the biggest law firms, locally and nationally, send cases to us to handle when they can't. If you have a challenging and critically important business or personal legal dispute that must be favorably resolved, whether regarding a contract matter, a business divorce, a real estate dispute, an employment dispute, a civil rights or defamation matter, plain talk, if it's a big deal, contact us at Parker Daniels Keyboard. Wise counsel, winning results. Go to parkerdk.com. Well, Donald Trump, I don't know what he's doing in Iran now at this point. But the outcome is not going to be good. It is not going to result in elimination of the nuclear program in Iran, elimination of their ballistic missile systems and infrastructure, elimination of their support and provision of military munitions, etc., to its proxies, and neutering their ability to destabilize one of the most important regions in the world. Those are the goals. He's not going to accomplish them. That's just, that's my prediction. I hope he does. But his dictating to Israel how it defends itself in the face of missiles being launched at civilian populations day in and day out is wrong. Now, it's far worse on the Democratic side. Far, far worse. And even now, and I didn't think I would see this day, but after October 7th, we have. Even with Jewish blood running in the streets, there is no allowance for the Jews to defend themselves. They're halted at every turn. I don't know if it's because of Trump's political life at stake. I don't think it is. I don't think he views it is. He's obviously not going to be running again, but the midterms could have an enormous impact on his last 2 years in office. An enormous impact. And he hasn't gotten done what he has wanted to get done during his first 2 years. So what happens in Iran is critical. And he may believe that doing a deal is better for him than not doing a deal. Now, he has said many times, walking away from a bad deal, he does, and it's a pillar of his negotiating style, technique, knowledge, plan. Boy, it's not working on this one with Iran, and it is affecting Israel and Lebanon. The destruction of Hezbollah is essential to safety and security in Israel. Israel did not spend all of that treasure, but more so, lose all of those kids in the IDF in required service, which has been the case for decades in Israel since its inception. Required military service. What does that do to a psyche of a people? Day in, day out, year in, year out, decade in, decade out, from the beginning. The destruction of Hamas and Hezbollah is critical. And it, by the way, can also bring about the creation of a Palestinian state, coincidentally. If Trump carries out the destruction of Iran and its proxies, you have to fight for freedom. It is not guaranteed. It is not a grant that you can rely on or expect. And that's the crossroads we're in. But I think it is disgusting for the President of the United States, Donald Trump, who I have, as you know, supported many of his policies. This is one that befuddles me, angers me, and is really horribly handled. To get on the phone with Bibi Netanyahu, and he claims he was perturbed with him. You know, Bibi, we've got to stop the fighting at some point. Oh, okay, let's stop it while ballistic missiles are being launched into our civilian populations. Oh, okay. What does that mean? We've got to stop the fighting at some... Yeah, you stop the fighting when you win the war. Because if you try to stop before then and say, okay, we got a treaty, we got a ceasefire, and the other side doesn't agree, but you say, well, we're not going to fight, then you have a one-sided war. And that's what it's been for decades with Iran, with the enemies of Israel, consistently. They have never stopped the war. Israel doesn't want to fight. It wants peace. It has stopped repeatedly, and then October 7 happens. It has stopped and tried to contain and live in this environment where any day you send your kids to kindergarten or day school and you don't know if there is going to be an explosion next door. No way to live. And Bibi Netanyahu wants to be the last prime minister to be elected to a country that has to live that way. Thought he had a partner in the United States. It looked like we did, or he did, but nowadays, I don't know. Doesn't look so good. Those are my thoughts as it relates to Lebanon. I hope the president shifts position and understands that we should be helping Israel in Lebanon. It will create freedom in Lebanon for the Lebanese people. It will destroy a proxy of Iran. We should destroy Hamas proxy as well. Up in Syria, they will fall in line. You'll have all these other Arab countries signing on to the Abraham Accords, and then a Palestinian state will be created, and you'll have stability in the Middle East. Oh, it sounds so easy, but, well, it's not easy. Of course it's not easy. But Iran is at the heart of the instability, and the regime must be destroyed. Hopefully the Iranian people will take over. Hezbollah must be then destroyed. Hopefully the Lebanese people will then take over. It is not as enormously complicated as it appears, although military action is hard. But again, fighting for freedom is necessary. Thank you very much for joining us on the Andrew Parker Show. Our next episode, we will be talking anti-Semitism with the executive director of the Jewish Community Relations Council for the Midwest, for Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota. So join us. It's going to be a very interesting show. It will drop a bit later this week, in the next several days, and we've got Brad Finstead, Congressman Brad Finstead here from the state of Minnesota, running in the 1st Congressional District. We'll have Eric Pratt running in the 2nd Congressional District. May have his opponent as well, Matt Klein. Matt Little got the endorsement of the Democratic Party, a complete anti-Israel, anti-Zionist hater. Another one for the Democrats as they continue to elect them, and good friends of mine continue to vote Democratic. I just don't understand it. Now, there are issues in the Republican Party as well. I get that, but still don't understand it. Go to parkerdk.com to learn more about the preeminent litigation law firm downtown Minneapolis, parkerdk.com. Until next time, be kind to your neighbor. For more Smart Plain Talk, go to theandrewparkershow.com. Learn about all of your listening and viewing options. And remember, all the great things are simple, and many can be expressed in a single word: freedom, justice, honor, duty, mercy, hope. This episode of The Andrew Parker Show is sponsored by Parker Daniels Keyboard.
Did your employer make you sign a promissory note when joining the company, and now you want to leave, but you're afraid your firm will pursue you personally for that debt? This is Jesse Keyboard from the law firm Parker Daniels Keyboard. I recently represented a client who had signed such a note, and I was able to get them out of their $500,000 debt to their company, which allowed them the freedom to exit a bad employment situation and enter a much better one. Meeting our clients' objectives is our focus at Parker Daniels Keyboard, and in this regard, we win. Our experienced trial team of lawyers at Parker Daniels Keyboard have secured major victories in state and federal courts across the country and through arbitration. We have the legal expertise in all types of business disputes, labor and employment matters, real estate matters, shareholder disputes, financial transactions, security issues, and appeals. For wise counsel, winning results, contact us at Parker Daniels Keyboard, a premier litigation law firm that provides efficient, aggressive, and innovative solutions to complex legal problems. Wise counsel, winning results. Go to parkerdk.com.